interference in our democracy as a whole.
Oh, so not just reform?
Not just reform, absolutely not. Ed Davey put his question to the Prime Minister, and when the Prime Minister said, oh yes, of course Nigel Farage should investigate this, but said nothing about whether he as Prime Minister would investigate it, you will have seen all of us Liberal Democrats on the benches starting to heckle and respond to the Prime Minister, because we think it's the Prime Minister's duty to hold an investigation into this.
Just to quote Davey in the House, a traitor was at the very top of Reform UK, aiding and abetting a foreign adversary. Nigel Farage and his party are a danger to national security. What evidence have you got to back that up?
The fact that Nathan Gill has just gone to prison.
Yes, but he's no longer in Reform. So why are Nigel Farage and his party now a danger to national security? By implication, you're saying that they're also being paid by Russians? Is that what the Lib Dems are saying?
We're saying that so far they have refused to launch an internal investigation into how this was allowed to happen and whether there's anybody else in their party who had links to him. So we're all putting pressure on Nigel Farage to investigate this. Given that Russia at the moment has invaded Ukraine, they are stealing children, they're abducting children from Ukraine, they're interfering in our democracy.
But by this Liberal Democrat logic, you could conclude a former very high-profile Liberal Democrat, Cyril Smith, who later got found guilty of abusing young boys. Are we saying by implication that all Lib Dems should have been investigated for that at the time that Cyril Smith was exposed?
No, I think what we would say in any situation is where those things have occurred, there has to be investigations into who knew what and when. Is anybody else that has to be held to account? Okay. That is absolutely fine. But our question was not just about reform. We do think that Nigel Farage should conduct an investigation into how this happened.
Do you think he's taking Russian bribes, yes or no?
I've got absolutely no idea. Right. That isn't an allegation.
That's the implication,
That is not the implication. That is not the allegation that we're making.
Okay.
We are asking him to do an investigation. What we are also doing is asking the Prime Minister of this country to launch a second Russia report to find out the extent of Russian interference in our democracy in any political party.
How many people voted for reform at the last general election?
How many MPs do they have? Look, we can cut this pie many ways, but he's not.
To the ground now. So I take it the Liberal Democrats have completely abandoned their quest for proportional representation.
No, we are fully a second Russia report to find out the extent of Russian interference in our democracy in any political party.
How many people voted for reform at the last general election?
How many MPs do they have? Look, we can cut this pie many ways, but he's not given a grilling in the same way that other MPs are as well.
First past the post suits you down to the ground now. So I take it the Liberal Democrats have completely abandoned their quest for proportional representation.
No, we are fully behind calls for proportional representation.
Are you?
Yes, we absolutely
even though when you actually win fewer votes than reform, you end up with how many seats?
Look, if the last
64, reform ends up with 5. You actually got voted in by 600,000 fewer voters.
Yeah, and we still believe in PR because we are principled about making sure that every single vote in this country actually matters.
Here's an idea, Daisy Cooper. You and Reform could do a joint campaign for PR.
That's not going to happen on my watch.
Because they like the idea of PR. Although I'm wondering whether you parties still like the idea of PR, really, when we've kind of ended up with PR by the back door, haven't we, with a kind of multi-party system now with the Greens and your party, or whatever it's called, also involved.
As a point of principle, we Liberal Democrats continue to support calls for a better proportional system so that everybody's vote actually counts.
All right, well, I'm going to get somebody else in the studio now. Thank you very much, Daisy Cooper. It is great to see you in the studio on GB News. A Liberal Democrat on GB News is a great thing to see. We'll ask Kemi Badenoch whether she might now want to support proportional representation because of the Tories numbers in the House. Thank you very much. What a show it's proving to be.
Hello again and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's set to turn much wetter and windier as we move into meteorological winter. Some flooding possible in places on Monday and an amber weather warning in place across parts of Wales. It's all thanks to this frontal system pushing in from the southwest, bringing with it a wedge of much milder air, but the isobars close together, so it will also turn quite a lot windier. And that's the case for this evening as well. So we've already got some rain pushing in from the west. Weather warnings coming into place overnight tonight. So a pretty wet and windy picture for most of us by the time we get to tomorrow morning. The rain particularly heavy out towards the west and over the high ground. After a chilly start to the evening, look at these temperatures by the end of the night, 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. So a much, much milder start to the day on Monday compared to on Sunday. But it will be wet and windy, as I say. Some really blustery winds through the morning across the south and the southwest, gales around the coasts, outbreaks of rain as well, particularly persistent over the high ground of Wales and western parts of England. Some heavy bursts here shown by these brighter shades on the map. Across western parts of Northern Ireland, western parts of Scotland, well here, something a little bit dry perhaps coming in, at least for a time on Monday morning, perhaps even a few sunny spells, but still wet across the northeast of Scotland. It stays wet and windy for most of us through the day on Monday, particularly across England and Wales. That rain persistent and heavy for some western areas, so some flooding likely by the afternoon, particularly across Wales. Dry and brighter for many parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. Some sunshine here, but the rain might just float once again back across southern parts of Scotland. And look at these temperatures, 12 to 14 degrees Celsius, so a much milder day to come. For Tuesday, it's a bit more straightforward. Sunshine and blustery showers. The wind strongest up towards the northwest, where there'll be some heavy showers, potentially even some rumbles of thunder. Driest towards the east, with the best of the sunshine here. Through the middle part of the week, it stays quite changeable, a mixture of sunshine and showers, but generally temperatures quite close to average for the time of year.